Good morning, students. Welcome to yet another lecture. Today we are going to discuss about Dalton's atomic theory. This theory you already studied in your 10th standard. We will be having it as in only again a repetition of that theory, and that is Dalton's atomic theory. Now you already know it, that Dalton was a scientist who very first time gave out this theory. He told it in his theory that atoms are indivisible. So his first postulate was atoms are second factor. He told that you are taking it as an element. An element has a number of atoms in it. Element is having number of atoms in it. These atoms, when we are taking it of an element, they are having identical properties. But if you change the atom, that means the different atoms are there, then their properties are different. So second statement he gave out as elements having atoms shows same properties, while different atoms have different properties, right? His third postulate, which is very important for us, even it is accepted nowadays also, that is when the atoms combines together, in a fixed proportion, then it forms a compound. That means whenever, as already we know it, law of definite proportion, number of atoms that are fixed to form a compounds. And his fourth postulate, that was for the chemical reactions, in which he told it that whenever the chemical reactions are carried out, in the chemical reaction, atoms are neither created nor destroyed. Their simply bonding is being changed and they are converted from one type of a compound to another. That means he told that in chemical reaction, atoms are neither created nor destroyed. Their bonding is simply changed. That means from one type of a bond they changes to the another type of a bond. So that only has the property. So that was the postulates of Dalton's theory. But his limitation of the theory was he was unable to explain why this type of compounds are having different properties. Atoms are having different properties. he could not explain that why this atom shows different properties. That means actually later on, now we know it that the different atoms are having different properties. The reason is we have classified the atoms. We have changed that into smaller units like proton, neutrons, electrons. But when the Dalton studied it, he was unable to explain that there are proton, neutrons or electrons, or the properties of the atoms that depends on these factors. We know it that the properties of an atom depends upon the valence electrons, but this is today what we know it. When he studied it, he was unable to indicate that there are proton, neutrons, electrons, and that's the reason why he was unable to explain why these atoms are having different properties. Second, he also was unable to explain what forces are there which binds these atoms or molecules together. Present between atoms or molecules. Which binding forces are present between the atoms or molecules? He was unable to explain related to this. So that is what we are having it as a simple Dalton's atomic theory. We don't have any formula, we don't have any things. We can have it as a maximum 2 or 3 questions. That is, what are the postulates of it, or what are the limitations, or explain Dalton's atomic theory with whole postulates and limitations. So that is one of the theoretical question which we can have it. Now the next one, the topic, it's a very simple. Many of the students would be knowing it, and many of the students would be having a problem with it. That is atomic mass, molecular mass. Now, in the lower standard we have already studied it. Atomic mass, it's a mass of an atom, or we also term it as the atomic mass. Whenever we are having it, we have standardized the modern periodic table with an atomic mass of C12. C12 is considered to be standard atomic mass. On basis of C12, all the rest of the atoms, their atomic mass are being derived. Like for hydrogen, we know that atomic mass, we are going to write it as 1. But what is that? In what terms we will be measuring it? So initially it was termed as AMU. Nowadays, in place of AMU, we are also using the word U, or we are also using it as an gram atomic mass. Either of it, atomic mass per unit, or U, or gram atomic mass. That means this is a mass of 1 mole of an atom. That means mass of 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 atoms. When combined together, the mass of it, it's taken it as an 1. Similarly, for the oxygen, 16. That is known to us. We write it even in the terms of grams. But while you studied this atomic mass, the atomic mass, how they were being decided, how the weight was being done, we are having it as in some of the atoms, like particularly an example of hydrogen itself I am taking it. The atomic mass of the hydrogen, it's taken out as 1.008 AMU, right? In some places it is indicated, so 1.008. But for the simplicity, we neglect it. We write it only 1 AMU. Now how this mass was been decided? It is told that the mass is decided on the basis of proton plus neutron, that is atomic mass. But sometimes these mass, they are not exactly the same. I can't say that I am having it as a fraction of a proton or a fraction of a neutron. Then in that case, how we are going to get this atomic mass? So in that case, we get it as the term named as average atomic mass. Now before I explain you about the average atomic mass, I would like to say you that at least all the students, they should be knowing it as a learn by heart atomic mass of the elements 1 to 30, at least up to 30. Above 30, some of them which are in the routine, we are utilizing it, it's okay, we can learn it. If they are somewhat different, other than that, they might be given to you. I am not saying it surely they will be given. So make it sure that you learn the atomic mass of at least 1 to 30 elements. That is right from hydrogen to zinc. The moment you have been told that what is an atomic mass of copper, it should be known to me immediately that it's 63.5 because its atomic number is 29. Similarly, if it is told to me what is the last element, that I should learn zinc. Zinc is an atomic number 30. So what should be its mass? 65. Immediately the answer should be there, right? So at least up to 1 to 30, make it sure that you learn out all the atomic mass. Okay, back to the point. No doubt these are the values that you are learning it, but how they have been calculated? So we have been given out as by the help of average atomic mass. Now what is an average atomic mass? We know it that we are having it as an atoms. Atoms are there which are having isotopes, same atomic number, different atomic mass number. Now one we are having it as an example of hydrogen, which you know it, H11, H12, H13, right? Protium, deuterium, tritium. Now you are knowing it, this is the atomic mass. Now for this atomic mass is 1, for this atomic mass is 2, for this atomic mass is 3. Then how can I come to know it what should be the atomic mass? Or how to decide that atomic mass, what should be the atomic mass of an hydrogen should be taken? Similarly, if I am taking it as another example of chlorine, 1735 and 1737, right? No doubt, for the hydrogen, we know it that we are taking it as 1 only, right? But reason is, actual answer was 1.008, but this was being neglected and we are taking it as 1. But in the case of chlorine, we are taking its atomic mass as 35.5. We are neither writing 35, we are neither writing 37. Why we write it 35.5? And we can't even neglect that 0.5. It's there. So what is the reason? So for that case, we got it as in theory known as average atomic mass. The average atomic mass is calculated on the basis of the isotopes, the percentage composition of the isotopes that are obtained from the nature, and getting the average of that mass of the isotopes is considered to be as an average atomic mass. For hydrogen, it's a very difficult for you to calculate it. For the chlorine, it will be an easier, but still I will help you to go it for the hydrogen. Why it was written as 1.008. No doubt, make it sure how to go for it. When you are taking it as an H11, if I put it as a proportion of H12, it's in the form of, if I get it this as in 5000 atoms of H11, I get it only 1 atom of H12. If I take it as an 10 raised to 17 atoms of H11, I get it as H13 in the form of 1 atom. That means 10 raised to 17 H11 will give me round about some 100 of H2, round about only 1 H3. So this is a ratio of the isotopes that we are getting it. Okay, at present I am not taking this one. Let's see it only for this two. What you will get it if I say it, then average atomic mass for these two atoms. We will be getting it as an 5000 into 1 plus 1 into 2. 5000 atoms of H11 whose atomic mass is 1, and 1 atom of H12 whose atomic mass is 2. And what are the total atoms that we took it? That are 2. Sorry, 5000 plus 1. So what will get it? 5000 into 1 is 5000 plus 1 into 2 is 2 upon 5001. So you will get it as 5002 upon 5001. You are going to get it approximately 1 point something something. 1 we are going to get it, and that is the reason why we are always taking a mass of it as a 1. Right? The value is so small that it can be neglected. Okay. Now in place of that, which becomes much easier for you to understand, that is for the chlorine as an example. Cl 1735, Cl 1737, they are obtained in the form of, the ratio we get it is in the form of 3:1. It's a very simple, right? We are getting it in the form of ratio of 3:1. So in that case, what we will get it? Average atomic mass is equals to 335 plus 1 into 37 upon 3 plus 1. 3 atoms of 35 atom mass, atomic mass of the chlorine, 1 atom of atomic mass 37, and total atoms we are getting it as in 4. So if I calculate it, I will be get this as 105 plus 37 divided by 4. So we get it as 142 by 4. So you get the answer 35.5. So this is the average atomic mass of chlorine. It's not a mass of neither as chlorine 35 or neither 37. It's an average atomic mass. So whatever the atomic mass we are going to use it, we are always going to use it as an atomic mass in the form of average atomic mass. Right? Now this is given to me, the ratio is given to me, I got that answer. Similarly for other atoms, for other isotopes, they might be ask you what is an average atomic mass. Like we can have it as an boron 10, boron 11, we can have it as an argon 38, 39, 40 as an atomic mass. So average atomic mass. So you might be given out compositions. What you have to do it is composition into its mass, you have to find out the average of it. So we get it as an average atomic mass. So this type of numericals can be there for you. Okay, so make a practice of doing such type of numericals. Okay, now the next one, that is molecular mass of the given substance. Again, the new topic, it's not the new for you. Some of the students already are very clear about this topic. Some of them are still having a problem. Molecular mass. Sum of atomic mass of all the atoms present in the compound. What we are going to have it as in molecular mass is sum of the atomic mass of all the atoms that are present in the compound. So for that we have to be very careful, and we have to know it, or some of the molecular masses you will have to learn. Actually they will become learned by heart by itself, because number of times you will be utilizing it. So let us study how to get the molecular mass. If someone is asking me to calculate the molecular mass of H2SO4, see, being a teacher, it's very easy for me. I know it's a 98 because thousands of times I have calculated it. But for those students who have not done it, or those who are having a problem, how to get the mass? So make it sure that whenever you have been asked to calculate the molecular mass, show it how many atoms of the hydrogen are there? 2. Sulfur 1. 4. Oxygen. Okay. Atomic mass of hydrogen is 1. Sulfur 32. Oxygen 16. So you will get it as 2 plus 32 plus 64, that is 98. This is the molecular mass of the given compound. So that we have to calculate it. Similarly, if we want to calculate the molecular mass of glucose, glucose means C6H12O6, 6 molecules of carbon, 12 molecules of hydrogen, 6 molecules of oxygen. Atomic mass of carbon, we are going to take it as an 12, hydrogen 1, oxygen 16. We will get it as 12 6 are 72, 12 16 6 are 96, total 180. So for this we are writing the unit as gram per mole. The unit you have to indicate it as gram per mole. Similarly, you can calculate the atomic mass for any given compound. Let's take it one or two another example also. Like we are having it as an HNO3, nitric acid. What will be its molecular mass? The molecular mass of HNO3, you are going to get it as H plus N plus 3 times oxygen. So you are going to get it as 1 plus nitrogen is 14, oxygen is 16. So 1 plus 14 plus 16 3s are 48. So you are going to get it as 63 gram per mole. The unit is going to be very important for you, right? So this is a particular method to calculate the molecular mass of the compound. Okay, and for today, the last topic, particularly for this lecture, we are having it as a formula mass, which is new for you. Actually till now you have not calculated the molecular mass of the given compound. We are going to make it as a calculation of the molecular mass, atomic mass in our previous standard also. In this standard also we are doing it, but the formula mass, it's a new for us. Now what is formula mass? Now whenever we are having it as in the formula, the compound, it is having some basic formula. From that basic formula, whatever the given number is removed out, we get it as a common number from it. Rest of the atoms which are present in the compound, the sum of their atomic mass is known as formula mass. Or you can say it as formula mass is equals to molecular mass upon some basic number. Formula mass, that is equals to molecular mass upon some number. It's an n is common number, right? So if I get it, we get it as a formula mass. Let's take an example of it. C2H6, you know that the compound is ethane. If I go it's for the molecular mass, we are going to get it as 2 into 12 plus 6 into 1, that means 24 plus 6, 30 gram per mole, right? This is a molecular mass. From it I want the formula mass. If I want to calculate the formula mass, can I say that from the ethane I can write it as Can I write it CH3 twice? CH3 twice. What is the common number came out as? 2. So that means 30 by 2. That is 15 gram. That is the formula mass. Right? Let's take it as another example, which we calculated it for the glucose. For the glucose, C6H12O6, we calculated molecular mass, that is equals to 180 gram per mole. Right? From this, can I write it as CH2O 6 times, the 6 is taken out as in common, C6H12O6. So 6 is taken out as common. So formula mass, that is equals to molar mass by N. Here N is, molecular mass is 180, N that is 6. So formula mass you are going to get it as 30. Right? Suppose if you don't want to calculate the molecular mass, take out the common number and simply from here calculate it. 12 plus 2 into 1 plus 16, that will also give you answer 30. Left out formula, sum of the atomic basic units of the atomic mass, compound is also considered to be as its formula mass. So either of the formula mass method you can calculate the formula mass. Okay, is it clear? Make it sure that you make it a number of practice of hundreds of such type of compounds are available. Do it, and if you are having still any doubts, you can contact to us on our personal contact number. Thank you.